I want to tell you about the moment I realized I had forgiven my girlfriend for the wrong person. It started with a song. We had a shared Spotify account, one of those small practical things couples do when they're trying to build a life together, splitting the costs, sharing the queue, the algorithm slowly learning you as a unit instead of two separate people. I thought it was kind of sweet, honestly, domestic in a quiet way. I was scrolling through our library on a Tuesday night looking for something to put on while I made dinner when I saw a playlist I didn't recognize. Golden Hour Mix. Lowercase, no punctuation, the kind of name that feels intentional in its casualness. I opened it without thinking twice, and then I just stood there, spatula in my hand, pasta going soft in the pot behind me. It was love songs, not our love songs, not anything we'd ever listened to together. These were slow, aching summer songs, the kind of music you listen to when you're falling for someone and you want the feeling to last longer than it should. Corinne Bailey Rae, Rex Orange County, that one Hosier deep cut that sounds like falling asleep next to someone new. I checked it when it was created 3 years ago. We had been together for 4. I should give you some context because the story I thought I was living was already complicated enough. About 18 months into our relationship, I found out she had been seeing someone, an older man, a colleague of her father's, actually, which made it worse in a specific way I'm still not entirely able to explain. It felt calculated, like something she had decided rather than stumbled into. I ended things immediately, or I tried to, but she came back and she was devastated in a way that seemed real. She cried in a way you can't fake. She blocked him everywhere, showed me her phone, answered every question I had with what felt like total honesty. She said she had been running from something inside herself and she wanted to stop running. I believed her. I gave her a second chance. And honestly, the year that followed was some of the best we'd ever had. We were more communicative, more intentional. She remembered things I mentioned in passing, showed up for me in ways she hadn't before. I thought we had done the hard thing and come out the other side of it. I was proud of us. So back to the playlist. I scroll through it slowly, reading the songs the way you read evidence. And that's when I noticed the dates on the additions. Songs weren't just from 3 years ago. The most recent one had been added 11 days earlier, 11 days ago, while we were in the middle of planning a weekend trip together. While she was kissing me goodbye every morning, she had added a song to this playlist. I looked at the listening history. She played it on her commute. She played it on lunch breaks. She had listened to it over 200 times in the last year alone. I am not a dramatic person. I don't spiral easily, but I sat down on the kitchen floor and I stayed there for a long time. I thought about the affair I had forgiven her for, the older man, the way she had framed it as a mistake, a weakness, a moment of self-destruction that she had pulled herself back from. And I had accepted that framing completely because it gave the story a shape I could understand. But this playlist didn't fit that shape. This was something else, something quieter and longer, and I think much more real to her. I went back through everything I could find with fresh eyes, and I found him, not the older man, but someone else entirely, a coworker she had mentioned occasionally over the years. Casually, the way you mentioned the background furniture of your life, the timeline lined up with a precision that made my stomach drop. The playlist started 3 months after she and I began dating. The listening patterns spiked during periods I now recognized. Long work projects, late nights. She said she was catching up on deadlines. The songs shifted over time the way a feeling shifts when it deepens. She hadn't been cheating on me with the older man and hiding it. She had been in love with someone else the entire time and using everything else as noise. The affair I forgave her for was real, but it wasn't the story. It was a distraction from the story. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I turned off the stove, covered the pasta, and I called her. When she picked up, I just said, tell me about the playlist. The silence on the other end lasted 4 full seconds. I counted. She said, what playlist? And that was it. That was the last thing I needed to know. I won't walk you through the conversation that followed. I'll just tell you that I ended it clearly, finally, without any room for negotiation or tears to change my mind. Not because of the playlist, not even because of the coworker, because I had spent a year healing from a wound she let me believe was the whole injury. And the whole time I was patching the surface while something underneath stayed broken and secret and hers. You can forgive someone completely and still forgive them for the wrong thing. That's the part I'm still sitting with. The reconciliation was real to me. I just wasn't the person she was reconciling for.